What is not what it seems. Part 3. After I left her, I went to Mr. Agarwal's room. They were speaking in loud voices as if arguing with each other. Mrs. Agarwal said, "At least when you come for a vacation, refrain from taking to the slut who seems the sole interest of your existence." Mr. Agarwal tried to be assured that it was a business call. I tiptoed to the reception, so I guess it was a third party situation and there was the other woman involved. Mrs. Agarwal looked sophisticated and I wondered why Mr. Agarwal would go for the other woman. I kept an eye on them. They pretended to be very happy couple, but they were not. The next morning, I woke up with the phone ringing. It was the woman in black. I told her whatever I knew, and she told me to keep a close eye on Mr. Agarwal if he went out. I did it accordingly. I started the day being at the reception as usual. I saw Hina. She smiled as she walked past the reception. Then arrived Mr. Agarwal after some time. Dressed in an elegant suit, he winked at me and passed by. After some time, I followed. Hina walked through a narrow trail past the hills. The road leads to a small lake. Mr. Agarwal followed her. I walked behind a short distance. Hina and Mr. Agarwal was secretly dating. Both finally stopped near the lake. I stood behind a tree and watched. She took out a packet from her purse and handed it over to Mr. Agarwal. He took it immediately and hid it in his coat pocket. Without saying another word, he walked away towards the hotel. I followed Mr. Agarwal to his room just to check the contents of the packet. I knocked on his room after a few minutes and informed him that I had come to clean the room. Mrs. Agarwal was nowhere to be seen. When I saw a suitable moment, I opened the packet. There was a powdery substance inside it, probably drugs, and it was written in a small piece of paper. 11th of Jan, let's get it done, near the lake at 6 p.m. I went back to my room and wondered what I should do. I had to call the woman in black without further delay. I called her and informed her about the envelope and the plan that will be executed on the 11th of this month. The lady in black told me that she will be there in Manali on the 11th of this month and together we will go to the place. I was much relieved. The next few days I followed Mr. Agarwal, but he didn't speak to Hina and pretended as if he didn't know her. Finally, she arrived on 11th as promised. In the evening, she called me to her room. I saw Mr. Mohit also sitting there. They greeted me as I entered. The woman in black finally revealed the truth. She was a detective working on the strange case of Mr. Agarwal. Mrs. Agarwal had hired her as she felt her life was not safe. As she had a huge property and if she died, Mr. Agarwal would inherit the entire property. Things now got crystal clear, so the woman in black hired me to keep a tab on Mr. Agarwal. In the evening, Mr. Mohit, the policeman, me and the woman in black hid ourselves near the lake around 6 p.m. After some time, we say Mr. and Mrs. Agarwal walking towards the lake. As they almost reached the lake, Mr. Agarwal suddenly took out a gun. Before he could do anything, we came out of our hiding places. The policeman arrested Mr. Agarwal while we took Mrs. Agarwal safely to the hotel. Hina had already checked out and probably she planned to meet Mr. Agarwal on the way. The policeman nabbed her. Both she and Mr. Agarwal were taken to the police station. It also came out that they supplied drugs. The woman in black paid me handsomely and congratulated me that I had helped her in solving the case. Then she asked me if I would prefer to continue working here or work on a new case with her in Mumbai. I thought for some time and told her that I would prefer to work here and help her solving the cases in days to come. So I finally got a reputed job and home. We left for Mumbai in the car. I viewed the setting sun as the homestay moved further and further away from my side as the car moved away. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.